Hello and welcome to the All About Pigeons podcast. I'm Phil.
And I'm Chris.
Hey Chris, how you doing?
Welcome. I'm great. Doing great.
So I'm curious, how are your Horse Thief Pouter pigeons? How are they doing?
Well, they're hanging in there. I don't have very many. I got three and a half, I think, and I don't have anything breeding yet. Everything's just kind of chilling. They're molting pretty hard. Two of them might look really pretty nice. Other ones are so-so. A lot of missing feathers. Being powders, they're inflatable crops. They'll rub them off and stuff, or the hand will pick them off and eat them, or just pull them up. So they're looking a little tough, but I'm excited to get some babies going. I'm going to put together a flying setup for that breed too, and can't wait to fly them.
So you're going to build a special loft specifically for this kind of a bird, right? Because it's you got kind of plans for this.
Yeah. So, what the horse thief is it's a you called it a performing breed, or performance breed, and pretty much what they do with them is, and it originates in Scotland, as I understand it. That's where the best videos I've found come out of Scotland. But they send this horse thief bird out to go basically steal somebody else's bird to stray one in, and then if they capture your bird and you want it back, you pay a small ransom on the thing, and it's a competition, it's a game, and it's kind of cool.
And I remember you sent me a link to that guy in Florida that does that too. It is really cool. I'm curious, will those bring in like ferals or other pigeons, or is it just pouters to pouters, or what can you catch if there's not another guy with pouters?
Well, they got a lot of homing pigeon in them. They'll bring homing pigeons home.
Okay.
So that guy in Florida that you were talking about, he was crossing them with homing pigeons, racing pigeons, good racers, and using them for trainers. Because they always come home.
Yeah.
And because basically what you do, what they're doing in Florida is they get together, like say you and I live 6 miles apart. We get in the middle, we meet in the middle, and you turn your bird loose and I turn my bird loose, and whoever's bird ends up at the other guy's house, that's the loser. You got to pay your ransom or accept your defeat, and stuff like that. So they're actually flying. They're homing quite a bit,
And it's all sex appeal with these birds, right? That's what they're doing to lure the other ones in. It's a matter of stroking their stuff.
All the pouters are hypersexual. They're always puffed up and they have a drive.
I wonder if that makes them compared to other breeds of birds, kind of easier to breed, if they're more prone and ready to go like that.
So they pretty much just top anything as soon as they get it to their box, as I see it. Yeah. I mean, as these guys in Scotland, they pretty much keep them all separated, or they'll breed all the time, right? And they pretty much keep them in the dark, which is kind of weird to me, but they all have separate feed and water and blah 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 blah. And then there's a trap on the roof that's they have the drop trap so that their bird can come in, and of course the other bird isn't going to know the trap, so it's going to be hesitant.
Yeah.
Once the other bird goes in there, it's going to hesitate, and that's when they use that flippy trap and goes over top of them. It's a pretty cool deal, but I don't know yet. They must breed pretty good, but I see that the guy had lots of fosters too. I don't know if you caught that, but he was fostering with his homing pigeons.
Interesting. I wonder
So
what the is that just probably you think to get more numbers?
I don't know. Or maybe it's to keep them in condition. Uh, Whatever, you can still fly that bird, work that bird. I don't know what the deal was but they're supposed to be pretty fair parents.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, what I've read about them is that
From
they
what
are,
I've heard.
yeah, they're good breeders. They're good parents. They can get a lot of young coming off of them. You know, that loft setup though, like, the loft setup that you're going to build, you're going to build it the same way with the trap on top to really make it specific that way.
Uh, Pretty much. It's probably going to be a roof building or something that doesn't. It's supposed to blend in with the surroundings because the pigeons will be hesitant to light on that roof, right? So, like in Scotland, they paint it like dark green or black or something, as like camouflage.
Yeah, those
So
look
it
kind of
doesn't.
strange. I mean, that one that was all black.
Yeah, that's to keep them warm and to camouflage them. And so when the pigeons come in, it looks like they're landing in a bush or a tree or something. It doesn't have all the windows and it doesn't look like a dwelling.
Yeah, that would be hard to do in Arizona, though. I gotta say that would probably be.
Ah, man, it'd be tough.
Yeah, it'd be cooking some
It would be
birds.
tough. Yeah, no, nothing could ever be black here. I don't think. Not in my neck of the woods. It's just it'd be way too hot. You could have like air conditioners in there or something, maybe. But dang.
And what about the Spanish Thief Pouter? Do you know much about that breed?
Not necessarily.
Because when I was looking I'm looking in William Levi's book right here on the, and I can't find specific horse thief, but they got two. They got the Spanish Lodina Thief Pouter, and then they got the Spanish Modern Thief Powders, and then it says dash Sporting Pigeon.
Yeah, so I think Thief is the Thief Pouter. That's the ones you're breeding to use for that particular, whatever. That's their gig. Because it's actually a Horseman powder, right? Horseman, but they're thief powders. They're used for thieving, fighting, whatever you want to call it, thieving.
Okay, yeah, here we go. I'm going to read this real quick. So this is actually out of William Levi's The Encyclopedia, and this is the Spanish Lodina Thief Powder. So it says origin Spain, especially in the province of Valencia, where according to Braj, it was highly cultivated for centuries. It was greatly improved by Father Laudas in the 18th century, hence the name Lodina, apparently from crosses of the Spanish horsemen with Valencian homers or powders. So yeah, so right there's the horseman breed they were talking about. Yeah, it's a flying breed used in Spain, especially for the very popular sport of pitching strays. A tenacious lover, constant in persecution and seduction of lovelorn hens. So, yeah, they go. I mean, that's crazy. 18th century. So this is a pretty. I mean, I know
it's
that
an actual sport.
Yeah.
It's not a huge thing, but they do it, and really, it's more of, I don't know. It's more of a bragging rights kind of thing. I don't think anybody's making big money on it or stealing people's racing pigeons or anything like that. I think I think you'd have better chance of straying in rolling pigeons than homing pigeons.
Well, yeah, especially whatever's flying loose in the area. I mean, I've seen some flocks in Phoenix before where they weren't all just a bunch of blue bars, and you can see a lot of people's birds get lost that way. But it's cool. I mean, I like performing breeds anyway, rollers and stuff like that. But this definitely takes it to a different area. I mean, these things. They had a issue in purebred pigeon. They just talked about how athletic they are when it comes to just flying in general.
They're supposed to keep up with the homers.
Yeah, that's what they were saying. I mean, it's they got.
I've flown this one, but I haven't free flown it. Like it gets out and flies 40 foot, but hasn't free flown. So
Let it really go. Yeah.
yeah, and it's not old enough to breed with. Well, probably now. I guess it would be now. But I want to fly him.
Yeah. Well, you need to just get a few babies and take some over to your neighbors for Christmas, and let them get a little setup going so y'all can start playing and doing the ransom game. And
I
that'd be a good
tried.
time.
I tried. He's more interested in racing than flying pigeons. You know what I'm saying? He'd be a one loft guy.
Okay.
Yeah, he'd be down for that. You know, like we were talking about like how they do the horse races in the bars.
Mm-hmm.
He'd be cool with that.
Yeah.
You know, that would be more his style. So I get it. You know, raising pigeons is not for everyone.
Yeah.
And it's work, and it's every day. It's a commitment. So, you know, gamblers don't necessarily want to do that, and I think that's why the one loft races have become more and more popular. There's a lot of money going in that stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's easier for a lot of guys too than doing the club scene. I mean, you can do your own thing on the side and then just send in, your best and
Sure.
see how it rises to the top and compares to others. I mean, I know the Hoosier one. I've been watching them on Facebook. They just did a couple, but that's a pretty big one, and that's getting bigger every year, and that's here in the States, Indiana. That's pretty cool.
I think it would be really cool to have the club to be part of a club that was sending one loft birds in. You know what I mean? Taking all of the birds in one. Does that make sense?
Like the best of the club, you mean?
Dedicated more towards one loft flying than club racing.
Okay, so that's the goal, though, right? I mean, you're trying to get a good bird to send in.
Yeah, well, yeah, you can train, do all that stuff, but it would be, your dues and all your investment is going to go towards the one loft birds. As far as entry fees and such, it'd go towards your one loft racing instead of gambling with your club races. It'd be more like training tosses.
Yeah.
But you don't necessarily have to compete to send out one loft birds. I mean, if you want to know what they are, what they do, obviously you want to train and stuff like that, but you can't send those birds to a one loft race. That don't work. You got to send young birds.
Right.
So you don't necessarily need to club race to one loft race, but there could be a club that is dedicated to one loft races.
I see what you're saying. No, I've never heard
if there
like
is
that
one
before.
If there is one and it does exist, I'd like to know about it. So
right.
Yeah, just putting that out there.
Yeah, anybody that's doing that, hit up our Facebook page and tell us how to get in contact with you, because Chris wants to join bad.
It's it could be, there could be 50 guys that could handle breeding 4-6 pair of pigeons to send to a one loft race, but they don't want to breed a whole team to race and train and yada yada. And that's where the club connection would do good, because you could get together, like-minded individuals get together and maybe swap some genetics or help one another get the birds together to go to shipping or whatever, anything like that. That's where that kind of setting could be cool, and it could be a whole lot less time consuming too, than training all the time and flying all the time.
Yeah.
Not a lot of transport fees.
Right. And I mean, that's, my little flight team here is it's straight for personal enjoyment and stuff like that. I mean, I keep track of who comes home first, and it does typically seem to be, the same 3 birds are always the first ones in. They trap in good, and those would be the ones I try to watch out with, but I got some more young birds in that fly team, so I'm probably flying about 20 birds now, which I like. I like watching a bigger flock get around, and but we had like 50-mile-an-hour winds today, so they stayed inside. I didn't want to send all my birds miles away as soon as it took off. They'd probably get lost in this stuff. But,
Man, if you tie strings to their feet, you can fly them like kites.
oh, can you imagine what some of those with the pigeon whistles on their backs would sound like in 50-mile-an-hour wind? It'd probably be so loud. Oh,
Right now would be a good time to try that.
It'd be whistling before they took off. I mean, just standing still, they'd be making music and this stuff. I mean, I read an article where a guy was doing that with roller pigeons, and that was something I'm always like, would that actually, do the woo 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 as it's coming down? Like, would it actually do that on a roller pigeon, or because with the homers, it's that constant.
I don't know, man.
As they're cycling and stuff. That's pretty cool. Oh man,
I feel like that whistle that I got is so heavy that they wouldn't fly very good anyway. They probably want to come down.
That one that you got is nothing though. Like some of those ones that they make, like in Beijing, where they're still making them out of the gourds, they're huge. They're like, it looks like the pigeon's carrying this like, I don't know, like a backpack. I mean, they're big.
It's on their back or it's hanging down below?
It's on their back towards the back of their tail there, but they're huge.
Wow. I tried putting it up like that. It didn't make sense.
Oh yeah, I mean that's the attachment part it's tricky, and really, you gotta have like a team of 10 or more birds, and you're putting whistles on most of them, and they got whistles in different notes and stuff like that. It's really cool. It's something I never been able to do, but I wanna try it. Just like I said, I fly for enjoyment anyway. So, but
you've got a lot of room out there. That'd be cool.
Yeah, you'd hear them coming and going for sure. But I mean, even the pigeons themselves already make a pretty cool sound as they're flying around, especially if they're coming down low. You can really pick up on a lot of that stuff. But,
the rollers will. They have a whoop, 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 whoop.
Yeah. I mean, it is cool sound. I mean, just the sound of the clapping of the wings and all that stuff. So have you ever, you've had a bunch of German owls in the past. Did you ever fly them or, let them take off?
I had them out.
Yeah.
I put them, got them when I got the Horse Thief Pouters, and about the same time, within a week or so. Okay. And I kept them, and they were just kind of, I had a bunch of them, and so I put them out in the fly pen with the homers, and I was homing them, and I flew one kind of accidentally the one day, and he flew in like 40-foot circles, no big deal, came right back, and all was well. And now old CG Loft has got those birds.
Oh, okay. He's using them for droppers then, right?
Right, yeah, he's using them for droppers for his racers.
Yeah.
So that's his plan. And he wanted 2 pairs, so I just give him all of them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they're a cool breed. I mean, I like the way I had a couple of German owls, and I had one that was a hand tamed one, and he was pretty cool. He'd fly around and come back, but they look cool when they fly. I mean, because that shield,
they fly nice.
Yeah, they fly good.
They fly nice. They're kind of quick. I had them flying around the house, not necessarily on purpose. And they're tough to catch. If you're trying to catch them in the air, they can move, kind of like a roller. But they don't go. He didn't go up as high. I'm sure they would have started loft flying a little bit farther, especially if they were turned out regularly. But I don't know. They kind of flashy to be out there flying around.
Yeah, but I mean so for me. I mean, I love like the different varieties of fancy pigeons, and I mean, magpies like always catch my eye really hard, and I think they're really cool. And it's cool that they actually fly too. So we got like American show racers, right? Like I like the way they look. I know you've dealt with some ASRs, but like you say, they fly like quail. They're not going to be.
They fly in a burst.
Yeah, they're not going to be doing laps around the house, flying big circles. Nah, like that.
They go up and they cruise down. That was they're beautiful, man. But they're not a flying breed. I just love flying flying pigeons.
Yeah.
And there's a big learning curve on flying pigeons, let me tell you. And so in some ways, back to that whole one loft racing thing, I think it'd be good for a beginner too. The training is done by somebody else. The raising and care is done by somebody else. You just got to get good, healthy babies. So
we've talked before about this too, and I'm going to just put it out there. So let's say you got 5 guys. You know where I'm going with this.
Oh, 5 guys.
Right.
Hey man, is that trademarked?
5 guys, pigeons that flies. All right. And all 5 guys agree, hey, I'm going to dedicate this one loft to 20 birds. Okay. We each divvy up 4 young birds to each guy. We each do our own small one loft race out of that, right? So you give me 4, I give you 4. Same with the other 3 guys. We all got 20 birds in our. I'm doing the math right?
I think so.
Something like that. Anyways, so we got our birds. We're training them just like a one loft and everything, but obviously way smaller. We know whose birds are whose based on bands and stuff like that. We're keeping track of. So I feed my way, I train my way, and we race. And you do the same, and you do this, and we go around. And it's cheap. It's still fun. You want to gamble, whatever, you gamble. But at the end of it all, you still know what's the cream of the crop on that. You still know who's got the best bird on that, and you can kind of go from there. So that's always an option too for playing around with the one loft style.
What he's saying is each of us would have each guy's birds at the house, so everybody would have everybody's birds. And you would fly races out of everybody's loft, if that makes sense.
And we would have 5 different race days too, or multiple. I mean, you could do it again and again.
Right. So it would really actually be 5 different races, 5 different courses.
Yeah.
Realistically, that everybody's going to live somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, but everybody would be responsible for training those birds and feeding those birds and keeping them healthy and that kind of stuff. I think it would tell more about your loft management.
Yeah.
Yep. The loft management and the training and that kind of stuff. It would tell more about that than I think it would actually tell about the birds.
Mm-hmm.
Or you would know that right away. You know what I'm saying? It would it could reflect on you that way. But then again, with so few birds, I don't know if it give you an accurate assessment of your own abilities. You know what I'm saying? Because you could have a wipeout and just be donezo for the season.
Yeah.
Or whatever,
and even the areas, things, like you're saying, are all in different areas. Like, I'm 5,400 feet, high desert. You're going to be flying, in the outskirts of a town. We could have somebody who's in the city. We could have somebody in a heavily treed area where there's probably more BOPs. So many factors. Yeah. And really, until the results come in, what if like your birds win at every single loft? Then that would, I guess,
Well, yeah, you got, there is that, but I don't know if it would come out that way. It just depends, depending on what kind of bird it is.
Yeah.
Because, in reality too, like, I mean, you're going to be flying a different distance than the other guy is too.
Yeah.
And that would be kind of cool because you could test the stock that way.
Yeah. We could have one do short distance and one hit the longer.
Right. And then somebody that's like, say, for instance, a driver goes the same route all the time, could train in that direction all the time, and he could do a hell of a long race if he drives that far, 350 miles would be no sweat, and it could go up to 500. Just we're just spitballing stuff here, but stuff like that could work, and it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool to think about.
Yeah.
but it would take a close group of individuals that are dedicated to making it happen. You know, it would and everybody have to be kind of cool, you know, especially with beginners. And I think experienced racers probably won't want anything to do with it. I don't know, maybe they would. That would be cool too, but you know, it is what it is.
Yeah, no, I think it's it's just another way to have fun with the birds, you know, and
For sure.
you know, something like
And
that.
it doesn't.
I would be happy to do something like that. You know, it's kind of low key. You know, it's like you say, it's a close group of friends, and yeah, just a different way to kind of do a local one loft in a way, just between friends. You know. But,
Yeah, you know, and it could be kind of like a event day, you know. Friday is, or
yeah.
whatever day is race day. Everybody's gonna go, and they're all gonna toss at the same time, and or on a schedule or whatever, you know. Or this is race week, blah blah blah, and everybody does one every day.
Yeah.
You know, it'd have. I mean, you'd have 5 days of entertainment right there.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I think it'll be a fun idea. That's all. I just wanted to put it out there. But you know, real quick, back to these horse thief powders, right? So you get your setup going, and you start trapping birds, right? And you trap ferals. What would you do with those ferals? Just take them to a pet shop and sell them, or?
I hadn't planned that far ahead, Phil.
Oh. That's your retirement plan, man. I think you get
That's my retirement.
I think you get like $2 a bird for them, man. You trap a couple 100,000, you'll be sitting pretty.
I better have a really good pigeon, huh?
Oh man, gotta get those Brangelina pigeons up there, bringing everybody in.
No, I had thought, I was kind of hoping that somebody nearby would decide that they want to fly Horsemans too, and you know, maybe have a little fun with that.
Yeah.
You know, we shall see.
I wonder, or there has to be like a because there's specialty breeds groups all over. There has to be one for the Horseman Thief Pouters. I'm sure they're out there. You know, see if
I guess I'm not really I don't really, unless I want to know, I never dig into it. You know, I still got to make babies first. That's my first and foremost thing on all of this stuff, is making babies. Right. Until I can start raising some nice young, I'm just gonna keep paying attention to that, and you know, I'll dive into the rest of it later, because that's a big rabbit hole, you know.
No, it's good. It's definitely a breed that's kind of caught my eye since you got into it, and I read a little bit more about them. I mean, it's funny how many breeds there are that, you know, I still have no clue about. You know, I've gone through the encyclopedia and stuff, and you know, oh, that's cool, but you know, actually when it comes up on seeing some, you know, it's funny. Like out here on the West Coast, like rollers are really big, you know, and I think they're kind of big everywhere, really, but they're really big just because we're so close to California and stuff, and that's kind of like bled into Arizona. But you know, one breed that, you know, I've talked about before with you that I've really wanted to get into is the parlor rollers. Just as another performing breed, you know, something you can kind of play with and interact with. But it's like, hey, we live in Arizona, and they would be tore up if we just let those things roll all over the rocks and stuff out here. And they're obviously bigger on like the East Coast and the Midwest and stuff, where everyone just has acres of grass and stuff like that to play with.
Right.
There's parks and stuff, but you know, I just love performing breeds. You know, Birmingham rollers, the parlor rollers, tumblers. You know, all these birds that just, even homers. You know, I mean, those things are incredible what they can do. I love watching birds that have this really big purpose, and that's where powders are cool, because yeah, people use them for show birds, but they still haven't lost their to do. You know, they can still go out and do stuff. You know, I think with like the Oriental rollers, you know, those things used to be performing birds, and then they got showed so much that they kind of lost their performing abilities. I know they're still a small percent, but you You know, when I read these old American pigeon journals, you know, they say, oh, don't show these too much. You know, these birds are meant to fly, and you know, they're from like the 80s or whatever. And I look today and I'm like, man, now they're almost all showbirds, you know.
I think Gary's got some more animals.
Yeah,
he's got some flyers, yeah.
And he's flying them too, I think.
Yeah, no, Gary's got some, and there's a few guys out there that have them. I don't know if they're the rollers they want, but I know they're flying them and they roll. I've heard some decent reports, like 10-footers.
Yeah. And as showbirds, they are cool looking showbirds. The way their wing drops and tail
they're
comes
pretty.
Out. Yeah, I mean, they're
pretty.
And the
nice
colors
eye.
And stuff. Yeah, they're good looking birds.
Nice
for sure.
eye. And good plumage on them.
The powders too. I mean, you guys get a lot of different colors with those powders, and you know they blow up just like a regular powder, and they can put on a big show. And you know
there are 93,273 different breeds of powders.
Is that it?
I'm sure of it.
More than that. Okay.
It's just like one more than the Modena has colors.
Uh-oh.
Whatever that is, there's that many. I'm sure of it.
Yeah, and Modenas, they got their own names of their colors, so that's pretty special stuff.
They have 11 colors. It's a lot, man. It's a whole lot, and that's something that you'll have to explore with somebody that's a lot smarter than me on that, because there's too many colors.
Yeah, well, we'll get some Modena guys on here sometime, because that is a pretty popular breed, and a lot of people really get into those birds too. So we'll have to bring a Modena guy on.
I don't know. Are you into Modenas, Phil?
These American show racers are probably the only flightless bird that I've really gotten into right now. Modenas used to be a flying bird. They used to they used to trap like powders, the horse thieves. Wasn't that their thing?
I don't know. I was told that they used to be a flying breed in Germany. Maybe.
I thought it was Italy.
Okay. Maybe.
Wasn't it like, because I thought that they pulled strays down in Italy. I thought that was their origin. But this is what I mean. I'm not a Modena guy, so I don't know. I'm probably sure. A bunch of Modena guys are probably screaming right now.
Modenas are mean as heck. Like, yeah. I had that one, and he grabbed that hen by the back of the head. It was a scary situation, but I've heard all kinds of tough breeding situations with them, and they require a lot more space and that kind of stuff. So I probably won't get too much into those. I always wanted one for a mascot, and I had one for a short second.
A very short time, yeah, man.
Yeah, but he's in a good home, so
yeah,
I'm happy about that.
We're coming up on the clock here, but yeah, I want to let you guys know that we are going to be our next episode. We're going to be having a National Pigeon Association master breeder on here, and we're going to pick his brain about everything as far as breeding and judging and everything else goes. He's going to be a wealth of knowledge for us to dig into. So like I say, you don't have to listen to Chris and I just geek out on pigeons by ourselves and say a bunch of I don't know stuff.
That's gonna be what, Saturday, 5 o'clock Eastern time?
I hope so. We'll see. This guy's in a different time zone, so it's gonna be we're gonna get something on the books here where we're not making him wait till 1 in the morning to do this.
We got daylight savings or what? If we do it on a Saturday, we should be able to stay up till like 3 in the morning, right?
Not everybody Not everybody parties like you, Chris.
I'm in bed at 9. VFRC Youngbird fly was today. How'd that come out?
I haven't heard anything, but I mean, it was windy in Arizona today, so that was on my mind. I was like, ooh, these poor guys.
It was windy.
Yeah, as soon as we get the results, yeah, we have to put that out there. We get those results and hear how that went, but it was windy out here, so I really hope that those guys got an early fly before this wind came through and had a chance to get some good flies out of it.
John De Leon got first place.
Oh, nice.
Second place was Carlos Padilla, and third place was Adrian over at CG Loft.
Oh man, hey, way to go, you guys. That's awesome. Very good. So I'm glad to see that. That's good that we did get some good flies. Did it have any other points on there that you could read?
No, I didn't catch that. Have to quiz them, see what's going on with that, and we'll share that with you guys next time.
Yeah, we will. Alrighty, well, we're gonna wrap this one up here, and next episode we're gonna have a, like I said, NPA master breeder on with us, and don't miss that one. It's gonna be a lot of information.